Well, welcome everyone. I am Kevin Whitson. Welcome to Winning with Whitson, and today is a great day. I am pleased, privileged, and proud to have with us today none other than Mr. Mickey Stevenson. Some of you may know the name, and let me tell you a little bit about who he is, and then we're gonna hear from him. He was born William Stevenson, and after spending his formative years recording doo-wop and gospel music, joined Tamla and Motown in 1959, the year it was founded. He was also the head of A&R department there during the company's glory years and in the mid 1960s with such artists such as the Supremes, Marvin Gaye, the Temptations, the Four Tops, Stevie Wonder, Martha and the Vandellas, and the list goes on. Stevenson has also been responsible for organizing and establishing the company's in house studio band, which the world has come to know as the Funk Brothers. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome with me, Mr. Mickey Stevenson. Hello, sir. How are you?
Hello, hello. How you? That was a pretty good setup there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hope all is well. We're so honored to have you here. Thank you for coming to see our little bitty show getting up off the ground here.
Oh
Thank you, sir.
no, no. Well, listen, God gave you something to work with, so you can grow into a huge show because you got the personality
Yes,
and the
sir.
gift. You know what I mean?
Yes,
So
sir.
I'm glad to be here, and be part of it.
Well, thank you for joining our program. It is an honor um, to meet you. Before we get going, I want to quote a statement that you have been coined or have coined, and that is learn all you can all you learn.
Absolutely.
Can you tell us about that?
Well, it's really dealing with the people that I was working with, young artists, and trying to trying working to make Motown become something other than just a record company. When information comes to you and it has some meaning to it, you got to can that. You got to keep that. You
Mm,
can't toss that away. And so the idea is to get the artists to believe in themselves long enough to hang on to whatever energy and thought that came to them that meant something. Hang on, work with it. If it's not there for you, it'll resolve itself. But if it
mm.
is there for you, things will be happening. So you got to go with that in mind. So that's what it's
Wow.
all about. So
Wow.
you grow every day. You get more knowledge and information. Some you toss away unfairly because you don't give it a chance to do what it's there to do. You know what I
Mm.
mean?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Powerful, powerful insight and a true statement, all nonetheless. Let's go back to your origins and how you got into music at all. What were your first memories of getting into music?
Well, fortunately for me, which is obviously part of God's gift, my mother was an entertainer, singer, and she worked with big bands and all that. Incredible. Played congas, wrote songs, danced, sang. Kitty Brown, Gail Stevenson, they called her. When you look on your computer, she'll pop up. Uh, she was incredible. And so my brothers and I, started working with her, or say learning how to perform and do things with her, to the point that we were known as the Stevenson trio, three of us. And everywhere she would go that we could be close enough, we'd go to the theater or wherever that she was working in advance and watch them mount up and light up and put mics down in the right places and watch the band rehearse straight through. And so it was a exciting time.
Yes.
And when we couldn't go and we were home, we had to rehearse because she said she had a plan for us. So we had to rehearse the songs that she had there, and my grandmother would make sure that we were there rehearsing. And she'd be in another city, on a gig or something. She'd come back, and now we got to perform for her in the front room to make sure that we were doing what we are supposed to be doing.
Yes, sir.
So to cut a long story short, uh, after about 3 months of that, she says, "Okay, I think you guys are ready." And We want to know ready for what? Well, you're going to the Apollo for the contest. Now we were in shock about that. Had no idea that was even in her thoughts.
Wow.
Now we go to the Apollo back in those days. Incredible. Where they had the guy with the broom and the hook. If you didn't sound right in the middle of the show, they snatch you off the stage and all that madness going on. His
Yeah.
shoes about 13 feet, size feet shoes, and he had on a clown outfit. It was terrible. It was
Wow.
scary, frankly.
Wow.
We go to the show, and we were on because my mother had the connections and the hookup, and basic band and all that. She worked with all of it.
Oh,
And
wow.
we're standing in the wings waiting for the bring the performers on, and we see the guy hooking people off in the middle of the performance. He come dancing out with his shoes on and a hook, throw the hook around their waist, snatch them off the stage, and I'm looking at my mother and say, "We go, what's going? This going to happen to us?" She say, "They didn't practice. You practiced. So you just do what you practice, and everything will be fine." Now,
Wow.
those words come easy, but that didn't mean nothing. But sure enough, we went out, we did our song, and we did not a blues song, we did a Mills Brothers song, you might add.
Mhm.
Maybe people remember them. And B.I. Bumblebee, a lot, I like honey. And the end of the song was, "Baby, baby, I love you." When you get to that part, the youngest brother, he would drop to his knees and say, "Oh, baby, I love you."
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Crazy. Couldn't believe it.
Yes.
So of course, we won the contest. So she said,
Oh, wow. Okay.
"Yeah, over all these adults now, we win, all right?" So she said, "Now, what does that mean to you?" I said, "Well, we won." She said, "But what else does it mean?" "Well, we worked on it." She said, "Now you're in the right place. If you practice and work on something, you will get a reward for it. Sometimes it could be little, a little bit bigger, and
Yes, sir.
sometimes it be huge. But
Yes.
if you don't work on it, nothing's going to happen."
Wow.
So that's where we went, and that was the beginning of. And so I used that throughout my entire career performing. Yeah,
And all because of your mother instilled that practice not only makes perfect, but practice makes permanent.
yes,
And
yes.
so she instilled that inside of your mind as a young. How old were you at that time?
I was about 12.
12 years old at the Apollo.
Yeah, yeah.
That was a dream because, the Apollo was great historically, but I could have only imagined back then. We're talking what, 19, what?
Don't say that. Don't let back know how old I am.
But somewhere in the 1900s.
And my little brother that dropped to his knees and wrapped the show up,
Yes.
he was about 7, 8.
Wow. And so it was the place to go to. It was the if you made it there, you made it, right?
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you go from there from about 12 years old, and then were you enlisted into the service? Were you a serviceman? Did you
Oh
listen
yeah,
to the Army or the Navy or
Air Force.
Air Force? Air Force. And so you leave there, get out of there, and somehow you end up meeting Barry Gordy. Let's talk about how that transpired. How did you meet Barry Gordy?
Uh,
Motown.
he was. I was before I got to Barry. I was singing with Clarence Paul, another artist,
Okay.
great singer. He was kind of like a gospel kind of singer, but he had great ears, and we had a duet we were doing.
Okay.
We go down to different parts of the city and do that. And then Smokey Robinson had his miracle group, and in schools we would be the singing acts for anybody having a show or a graduation party or whatever. They had the
Okay.
party. It would be either him and his group or me and my group. Now,
Oh,
my group, I'm from where I came from. I was singing jazz and those kind of songs. You know what I
okay.
mean?
Okay. Yes.
And he was singing soulful songs and all that.
Yes, sir.
We knew each other very well. The bottom line is, he and Barry were close.
Okay.
So when Barry left the company that he was with to start his own label,
Mm.
he had Smokey to come with him. And when he found out about me, he had me come to a meeting. And it's in my book. I read it's all in there.
Okay.
So when I we met in the barber shop.
Mhm. Okay, in the barbershop.
Yep. And the guy who owned the shop, his name was Muldoon. We called him Muldoon. He had all kind of equipment in that. He had
Wow.
telephones and chess games and chess, all kind of games that you could play with to keep
Yes.
everybody busy, so no one would leave his place while he was working on
Ah,
that.
very smart.
Very smart. And so Barry and I were there, happened to meet at the same time to get our hair done. Me for
Oh,
mine, and he was getting his. That's when they made the waves. Remember the day of the waves where you made
yes,
that?
sir. What was it? Fried, dyed, laid to the side.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
I know a little something.
So we were there, and so Muldoon introduced him to me and me to Barry. Now I knew who he was. He had no idea who I was,
Okay.
and couldn't wait to meet him because this was my opportunity. Since I knew he was going into producing Jackie Wilson and all that, I said, okay, he can produce me. That was my thinking.
Okay. Okay.
We're laying in the chair in the back, and so I'm saying to him, and Barry Gordy said to me, "Well, I heard about you, man, working with the musicians and your songwriting and all that." I said, "Yeah." I said, "I got a couple of great songs that we can do that's gonna make me a hit,
Okay.
make me an artist." He said, "Wait a minute, your songs that good?" I say, "Absolutely, they're good." So we got to that kind of conversation.
Gotcha.
Bottom line is, I met with him maybe 3 or 4 days later when he came back from Chicago, wherever it was, and he had called me to come to his place and bring my songs.
Okay. Awesome.
So I went to his place. He lived in what he called a ghetto fabulous apartment where you push the button and you better grab the door before it closes.
Ghetto fabulous. I like that. Yes, sir.
So he's way down into the hall. I go down to the end of the hall. He's standing there on the phone in his shorts doing business.
Okay.
And I'm looking, I said, this guy's got to be crazy. And he's talking, come on in, close the door. And he's on the phone. So he finished what he was doing. He said, okay, let me hear your songs. And I said, okay, I'm looking around. I said, you got no piano? Will you just sing them? He said, yeah. And then he said, la 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 la. Now, if I can do that, let me hear you say
Wow. Wow.
So I said, okay, you can't out to myself. You don't outdo me, man. So I
Yeah. Yeah. There you go.
grabbed the songs. I started singing a couple of them. He said, that's pretty good. I did another. I said, yeah. I never would go through the whole song before he cut me off. Yeah, well, that's good. You got something else? I go like that. I said, now, here's the one that's going to be a hit on me. He looked at me. So I say, he said, hold on. I didn't bring you here to be no singer, no artist.
Okay.
Now I'm not too happy about that. You know what I mean?
Right. That was the whole intention, right?
And he looked at me like I'm crazy. I ain't bring you here to be no artist. I heard about your
Wow.
song and what you're doing with the musicians. That's all. I'm from the company. And I want to see, how we can work together. Like, man, I was so upset. I didn't know what to do. I started
Yeah.
packing my stuff.
That was a letdown, right?
Oh yeah. And I
Because
said,
you went there with that intention of
yes.
okay.
And that was not his intention at all.
Now now here's a question. You said that you and Smokey would sing and if one wasn't you were friendly competitors, right? You and Smokey
Yeah,
were friendly.
right.
And so when you had heard that Smokey Robinson was with Barry Gordy,
No. I saw him. I had no idea he was with Barry Gordy.
oh, okay,
I
okay,
got this
awesome.
information in the barber shop. He
Okay,
knew
gotcha.
he knew about me. And I knew
Yes.
about him as a producer with Jackie Wilson. I thought that was great because Jackie was really hot, right?
Yeah,
And
yes.
so I come with my own plan. You got it?
I got you.
I knew about Smokey's plan. Well, when I did my songs for him at his apartment
Mm-hmm.
and told him which one I wanted, he said, I didn't bring you here to be no artist. Now I don't know what's going on. He said, I want you to be the A&R man for my company that I'm doing.
Okay.
I had no idea what A&R man was all about. I said, what do you
Gotcha.
mean? What is that supposed to? He said, well, you find the artist, and you get the songs, and we make hit records. I say, find the artists. Yeah, if they're good enough, we're going to sign them. And that's
Mm.
your job. I say, can I sign anybody I want? He said, yeah, if you think they got it. I said, can I sign myself? I say, hold it. He said, hold it, don't get carried away.
You were still trying to get that moment, right?
That's what I was there for in the first place.
Right.
I
Right.
had no idea what he was talking about. Anyway,
Yes.
he got me on. So I said, yeah, I'll think about it. I said, when do I get started? He said, you already have. I said, you mean you already decided I'm going to be the guy that he said, yeah, I know a lot about you like that.
Mm.
And I said, okay, can I think about it? He said, okay, you can think about it. So I'm packing my stuff, and I close it. I say, how much you paying? He say, about $2-3 an hour, and lunch. You get lunch and dinner. And I'm saying to myself, this guy's crazy. You know what I mean? I packed myself. I said, let me think about it. So I was getting ready to leave. I said, and walking away, I remember my mom says, you got to try things. Things that are working for you. You got to work with it. You develop. Blah. The whole thing I was talking as I was walking down the hall. Smokey starts coming this way. He just left. He was coming to Barry's apartment.
Oh wow! Oh wow!
And he was right to. He said, "Mickey, what you doing there?" He said, "Barry, what is Mickey doing here?" He says, "He's going to be the A&R man for the company." So they had already got the plan going. You got it? And I said, Barry said, Smokey said, "Oh man, that's great." He said, "Man, I got a session on Tuesday, and I need a drummer and a bass player." I said, "Okay, you got it." And Barry said, "Wait a minute, he gonna get you a bass player?" He said, Smokey said, "If Mickey say I'm gonna have a bass player and a drummer, I'm gonna have a bass player and a drummer."
Okay.
And Barry just stood there, and I'm walking away still thinking about this job. I'm gonna get Smokey what he needs because he's my friend. You got it?
Right.
I'm walking away, and I was saying, it's just a cheap job. This ain't what I was here for. But I kept hearing my mom said, you got to try, you got to do. Things happen when it's.
That's good.
At the bottom line, that's how that got to be where it was at.
Okay. And so you left there, took the job, and became an A&R. For those watching who may not know what that is, because in today's music, and we'll get to that in a second, it seems like a lost art. It seems like they don't do that anymore. But what was the job of an A&R?
Well, we had to find the artists.
Yes.
And the songs. Mm-hmm. And if it was coming out good, we would record them. So what I would do is have auditions. People would come to the studio, to Motown, before they got the big name, but they would come and audition. And then I was having auditions maybe 3 times a week because it kept growing. People coming from Ohio, they came from all over Michigan, then they came from Ohio, then they came from Chicago, because we were growing in that, it was like, who's this company, this Motown company, man? They doing this, they doing that. Now I'm in charge of auditioning everybody.
Gotcha.
Because when I looked through what Barry had around there, everybody wanted to sing, wasn't nothing happening. He had a guy named Marv Johnson, wasn't too bad. I said, okay, we'll keep him. He said, well, what about this guy? I said, what about that? I said, am I the A&R man? He said, yeah. I said, can I do my job?
Okay.
And I wouldn't be on a smart aleck. I saw great artists work with my mom. I saw great artists. I saw artists that were great, and some that thought they were good and they were not. You know what I mean? I'm with her shows. I'm seeing great bands work and all that. So it's already locked in my head, but I was going to use it all for me, see? I wasn't thinking about A&R, man. I'm thinking about Mickey Stevenson. You got
your 15 minutes of fame, Doc.
Yeah, right.
You still thinking about that moment, right?
Right.
I love it. I love it.
So since I got the job, and that was all God's doing, which is a whole other conversation, that was my job. And people would come and audition, and it wasn't happening. I would find nice ways of saying, you got to go do this, you got to go do that. And they would say, well, who do you think you are? I say, well, I'm the A&R man for this company. And that's when I don't want to sign nobody that I don't believe in because
Mm.
it's not work. I said, not that you wouldn't be good, but you got to go practice. You got what? So what do you do all day? Then I gave him the story my mom gave me. What do you do with your 24 hours? You sleep 8, you go to school 8. Now what you do with the other 8?
Okay, come on.
If you ain't putting that in whatever you want to be, you ain't going nowhere.
Mm.
And then I would hear words like, "Who you think you are?" I said, "Okay, next." Because I don't want to go. I ain't got time to go through this whole conversation. I'm
Right,
trying
right
to
on, right
grab
on.
with these artists for this company we had. You know what I mean?
Yes,
And those that stood and listened and had something, I would sign them up. So
yes.
to cut a long story short, that it went like that. You know what I mean?
Okay. And what were you looking for? What were you looking for in an artist, besides the excellence and their drive and all that? What were you looking for, or did it vary from artist to artist?
Well, there was a. I was looking for the gift of
Okay.
them having a voice to start with,
Okay.
and I was looking for did they have a creative ability to go with that voice. By that I mean, I say, let me hear you sing your song. And I said, before you get to that, do you write any songs? Well, no, I got a
Hmm.
couple of ideas I've been using. I said, okay, let me hear you sing your song. So they sang some kind of song with a song that was out at the time. I said, okay, that's
Okay.
nothing. Let me hear the one that you were working on.
Mm.
I go like that.
Okay.
Some would say, well, I haven't finished. And I say, that ain't what I asked you. Just let's say, let me hear some of it. Like,
Yes.
and once I hear the quality, even though the
Hmm.
song wasn't great, but the quality and the concept was there, I would say,
Yes.
to them, I tell you what, why don't you come back next week and bring me 2 of the songs like you sang it? I heard your voice. I know you can sing. So you did the Billie Holiday song, whatever is going on. I said, let me hear what you got. I go like
Okay.
that. And I tell my secretary, take her name down or him, take their name down, give them a time at blah, 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 blah. I said, now you have
Mm.
it ready at that time.
Okay.
Now they
Okay.
were happy to do that. They say, okay, well, I can sing the whole thing for you now. I said, I don't want you to do it now. I want you to go and work on it and bring it back at that time. You already
Yes.
booked. So don't worry about it.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I went like that, you know what I mean? And
Okay.
uh, and so Barry would say to me, well, what were you? I say, well, is this my job? He said, yeah. I said, can I do it like I want to do it? He
Yeah.
said, okay.
Because he hired you to do your job.
Yeah, right. So let me do what. If you don't like me, all you got to do is say goodbye. You know what I mean? In the
Okay. Right
meantime, I
on.
can't make this up. I got to do what I know I can do, the part of it.
Yes.
And I grew
Yes.
doing it better because, things were happening. And that's how we kept going. A lot of people, they would sing a couple of lines. I said, thank you very much, but you know what I mean. And then some would come and sing, but then they had an attitude.
Mm.
I didn't want to deal with that. And
Okay. Okay.
but now I'm auditioning a lot of people now. I had my assistant. I said, okay, no, when they come in, you let them know they got to do this, got to do that, and have them sit. She said, "You gonna audition all these people?" I said, "As long as they come, they came for a reason, and I'm here for a reason. So let me see what's going on. I can cut you off in maybe 5 minutes because I can tell you
Sure.
you ain't got it." You know what I mean?
Right. 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 Yeah.
But those that had it, they had it. Some had great voices, but their attitudes were something I didn't want to have to deal
Mm.
with. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
Okay. Okay.
Uh, and
Did you?
not that I'm some genius or something. These
Sure.
things I learned from my mom how this works. You know what I
Yes,
mean?
sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Did you
And
ever? Did you ever uh miss one? Like, oh, I thought I didn't want to sign them. I should have signed them. Did you ever have that? Never.
not one,
And
no,
why? And tell us why. Why not?
because whatever turned me off, the,
Hmm.
the ability could turn me on, but things that they would say and the attitude they had with it could turn me off. In other
Mm.
words, I take this person got a good voice, or he's writing some good songs, but with his attitude, we're gonna be battling all every day because he's gonna want to do something that I ain't gonna want him to do, and he got that attitude.
Okay. Yes, I see
You know
what
what I
you're
mean?
saying.
And the ones that I took a chance with, that I had the feeling that I should not have dealt with, but they had the gift. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Of a writer
Yes.
or a singer. So I would go with the gift, but ignore the other part of them
Okay.
because the gift was so strong. You know what I mean? The song
Mhm.
that they sang for you was really good, or something, or played real good, whatever the deal was. But I saw that other part. Now, when I ignored that, sure enough, once they got into position with me, they
Okay.
would come on, hey, I'm not going to do it this way, and blah blah blah, and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? And now I asked for that problem, so I got to watch how I handle it.
Yes, yes,
Sometimes I
yes.
would say, well, either you have to do it this way, or I got to let you go. And they would say to me, never fails, this ain't your company. This is Barry Gordy's company. And I said, hold it before you get carried away. Oh yeah, yeah, right. Now it's almost like who you think you are attitude they would say to me, right?
Okay, okay.
We'll see. He said, I'm going to see what Mr. Gordy got to say about this. I said, let me tell you what's going to happen. You're going to go up there and tell him what all you're going to do and whatever I said. And then he's going to send you right back to me. Now, as you coming back to me, pick up all your stuff because I'm putting you out. What
Don't
about
no
tell him that?
no tolerance for any of that kind of
Right.
pride and
Yeah,
arrogance.
I'm trying to help you, and you don't like what I'm doing, so you're gonna go tell about me, telling you what to do. And this went on to some major artists down the line as we were growing. Different artists would leave; they're about to leave their companies and all that, and they
Hmm.
would come and want to get on Motown.
Okay.
So Barry said, "Oh, so and so want to come with us." He said, "I said, hold it, this is my job." He said, "Yeah." I said, "Can I interview him and see what's going on?" Because they didn't get out of that company for nothing. Something happened over there.
Okay.
And he was so busy, Barry was so busy. And when he gave me that job, he really gave it to me. He said,
Hmm.
okay, you got it. Because he got enough dealing with the promotion, the salesman, the radio stations putting it on. He had a lot on in his book he had to deal with.
That's amazing.
So what I took as the A&R man, I had a lot, but it's all about one thing: artist, singer, writing, and cutting records. That's it. I didn't have
That's
to
it.
worry about promoting and all that kind of stuff. So I
Right,
took
right.
it very, very serious. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir. Yes,
And
sir.
I will let you know. Now, if you say to me, an artist coming in, and I had some name artists that left major companies come over to us and say, well, blah, 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 I want to do this, I want to do that. I said, well, you can't do it like that. No, I got to do my own thing, blah, blah, blah. I said, no, you do what we do over here.
Mhm.
I said, if your thing was so great, why are you over here talking to me? Why ain't you over there where you were with the labels? Something went
Mhm.
on. So don't bring that over here because it didn't work over there. You know,
Wow.
I go with that. You know what I mean? And then I'd hear words like, well, we'll see what Mr. Gordy got to say about what your job is. Every time they go that route, and I would warn them, I say, no, when you go up there, he's going to send you right back to me. And now the answer to me is no. Because even if you say yeah, you only want a time to how to change your plan on me. So it ain't going to
Mhm.
happen. So
Yes.
are you with me?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you you lived up to the name A&R so well that your book is called The A&R Man. And being the A&R, how do you see how that's changed in modern music today?
Well, fortunately, the ones that I met I learned from. Like Quincy Jones was an A&R man. People like that, I learned from them. He already went through what I was going through, so he and I we got to be close. He said, "Don't do that because here's what's going to happen." You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I
Wow.
don't care who he is. I don't care who she is. Well, I don't care what the group is. You better get this
Yes.
straight first. You know what I mean? So I learned from him
Yes.
without. I didn't question him. He went through it, so he knew exactly what he was saying.
Right. Right.
So, so when certain talented people would come, they were leaving their labels and looking where to go as an artist. I don't want to put nobody in an uncomfortable position, but they were
Mhm.
known, talented people, and they would come to Motown. And I would say, before we get started, now here's the way it works over here. I'd like to have you on the label, but it's got to go like this. Then I would say, yeah, but you see, I do this now. When I do that, and I said, let me think about it. And I would go to Barry and say, you going to sign her or sign him? I said, nah, it'll be big trouble.
Big
Now
trouble.
they're going to convince our artists to think like they do. If it was so
Right.
big, what they doing over here?
Yes. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes,
So he
sir.
threw his hands up. He said, okay, that's your job. I don't want to get into it. I got enough to worry about. You got it. So the bottom line with Barry and I, he never stopped me from doing what I think I should do. Sometimes he questioned it because the person might have been good or coming from another line, but had a couple of hit records or whatever. I said, no, they're going to come in here and poison all our people. But our
Mm.
people like them too, so they're going to be listening to what they got to say. If they were so great, why ain't they still over there? You know,
Ah,
yeah.
That's a
And
great perspective.
he was in the store. He said, "Okay, you got it. You got." I would say, "Then is this my job?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "Can I do my job?" He said, "Okay, you got it. You got it."
Wow. Wow. That takes a lot of self-awareness, a lot of boldness, a lot of confidence in who you are, not to sway, not even by your boss. You stood your ground because that's what he hired you to do.
Yeah, now people that hire me to do something else, that's a different conversation. Because my line was, I do this, I do it like I do it. He said, "That's why I got you." So he never
Mm,
really changed that. So he
mm.
knew about me after Smokey because he questioned Smokey about who's this guy. Smokey said, "Oh man, he handled the musicians in the clubs and all that. He know all the guys. Matter of fact, he collects the money for them so they can get paid."
Okay.
He asked me one day, say, "Well, when you was doing it, why did you do that?" I said, "Well, they come and want to borrow some money from me, and they did playing up there. I said, how come you ain't don't you get paid?" And they say, "Yeah, but when I have my dinner when I come in and have a drink or two, then they take it out my money, and then I'm there, 5 days, 3, 4 days a week, so my money get cut down." I say, "How much they paying you?" They say, "Blah blah blah." I say, "Okay, I tell you what, I'm gonna talk to your boss for you and make sure you get the money. You give me 10%."
Okay.
He said, I say, "Listen, you borrowing money from me, you can't pay me back, so I ain't gonna keep doing that." And you're a great player, so something's wrong with this picture, but you can't be eating up all the stuff now. You gotta handle it correct. He said, "Yeah." So I went over to his boss and got him straight. I said, "Now
Uh,
you got to pay him this. You can't take that money and give him a hamburger. Now you're gonna take out of his pay the hamburger and all that kind of garbage.
right.
So if you for that place, I'd rather have him play someplace else." He said, "Well, who you think you are?" I said, "I'm trying to see that he's borrowing money from me and ain't getting enough for you and be here from 5 o'clock till 2 o'clock in the morning. That ain't right."
Mm.
So the boss, say whoever they were, they said, "Okay, well, what's the deal?" So I give them the deal. They said, "Okay, Dad, I'm holding you responsible for it." I said, "If it don't work, I'll bring you another bass player. I'll bring you another guitar player." They said, "Okay, you're gonna be responsible?" I said, "I'm gonna be responsible for it." I said, "Now you give me 10%." So they
Mm.
said, "Okay." Well, I'll go back to whoever I was working with. I said, "Okay, man, here's the gig. Don't mess around. Don't be late. He will pay for a certain. Don't be asking for his best of his food. Get yourself some burgers, chicken, whatever. Don't get up eating all the steaks, and then you got your money.
Right.
Now you can get mad, like that." And so I got down. I said, "Now you give me 10%." So, so and went like that. So other musicians would tell other musicians, and it grew and it grew. You know what I mean? So I knew who was good and who was not good.
Yeah, okay.
Around the
Okay.
city because my living was making sure that they got paid for the bosses,
Yes.
right?
Oh yeah. So you were running a tight ship there.
I
You
didn't play
because your
around.
livelihood depended on that.
Yeah. That was my job to survive. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
When
Yes, sir.
Paul and I stopped singing, it was a whole other story. And so that was my job. So I knew who could play and who couldn't play.
Mm.
So when Smokey say I need a drummer, I need something, and Smokey tell Barry, if he say I'm gonna have a drummer, I'm gonna have a drummer. You go like
Mm.
that. you know,
So being responsible for so many great songs, Dancing in the Street comes to mind. How did you know that they would be the right group for that song and maybe not the Supremes or maybe not someone? How did you know that?
well, that came by a few methods. One
Oh,
is knowing the supreme sound.
mhm.
This song will take them to a whole nother sound, and I don't want to lose that audience that they already got. I want it to grow. When I
Okay.
say I, meaning Motown, you know what I mean?
Yes, absolutely.
I don't want to take that the wrong direction. You know what I mean? So I try to find songs that would keep them in a place going that in this direction. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And as I've got writers and some writers that come up with a song that had that feeling to it, I say, "Oh well." So when I got Holland Dozier Holland, that was the key for the Supremes.
Okay.
Brian Holland, Lamont Dozier, rather, was a piano player, writer, songwriter, but he could
Oh,
play.
okay. Yes.
Holland, uh, Eddie, and Brian, they couldn't really play, but they could create and sing. Right?
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
So I brought the piano player, writer, over to Motown,
Hmm.
and I put him with Brian and Eddie, the two brothers. Now, when they got together, they did magic.
Ah, okay.
That's a whole nother story about how I got the guy. Barry had a sister who had a label in Detroit. We got a label in Detroit. Barry said, we don't want to be battling each other, so we're going to absorb her label and make it one. So go there and find out who she got that's worth keeping, and then we'll take them and forget about the other stuff.
Got it.
And I said, okay, I'll go back and see what she got.
Mm-hmm.
And she had Harvey Fuqua, who was the one head of the Moon Glows. Remember the Moon Glows?
No, sir.
Okay, I'll take you back a little bit. Forget
I don't remember them.
The Moon Glows was a good group on another label.
Okay.
And he had Marvin Gaye with him, with Harvey.
All right.
As a substitute singer for the lead. So in case the lead had a problem, Harvey had Marvin Gaye to come in and take that spot.
Okay.
When he left that whole company to go with Anna Records, it was called Anna Records, which was Barry's sister's label.
Okay.
We're going to absorb that label. No sense in the family fighting each other about this. You know what I mean? One company, period. So my job was to see if was there anybody over there that we wanted to take or bring with us.
Okay.
So I went through everybody that they had. I didn't like nobody. But Harvey Fuqua, because I knew who he was. And every now and then he'd come up with a good line or two.
Okay.
But then when he brought me Marvin Gaye, which was one of his singers with his group, the Moon Glows, he came in and I heard him sing. And I said, okay.
Yeah, now we're getting somewhere, huh?
Yeah, we're getting somewhere. Because I was going to dump everybody.
Okay.
Yeah. Then I went and saw the piano player, Lamont Dozier, playing and writing and playing songs. And I said, oh, wow. Now, Brian and Eddie Holland, who can't really play, but this guy play and write, that could be a great combination. I got nothing to lose.
Okay.
So Barry said, okay, who we keeping? I said, we're going to keep this guy right here, and we're going to keep the piano player. He said, what about all the rest of them? I said, I said, no. He said, well, what about this guy over here? Marvin Gaye was over there. I said, I'm kind of interested in his sound because Harvey had him as a moon glow. So when he left that company, he took him with him. I said, okay. I said, let me give it a shot. So I had him come with me. And I talked to him for a few minutes. And he dressed with a bow tie on and all kind of stuff. He had a whole image of himself.
Yes.
And so I said, let me hear some of the songs you wrote. So he played a couple of his songs. I said, wow, this guy's got a whole nother thing going on. I said, well, I'd like to bring you with us over to Motown. And I'll take you and Harvey, your buddy. I'll take both of y'all. He said, well, what am I going to do over there with you? You going to record me? I said, I don't know about the recording part, but I like some of them songs you got. And I said, and I'd like you to write for some of the artists, and we'll get around to you too. And he said, I could write what I feel. I said, I'll even write some with you. He said, you write with me? I said, yeah. We write together.
Mm-hmm.
I said, okay. I'm going with you to Harvey. I'm going with you guys. So he's leaving that label to come over.
Yes.
So that's how he got there. And he and I, you got to watch, he's standing around with a suit on, bow tie, looking he had a whole image of himself. And I'm saying, I appreciate that, but you don't need all that. He had a whole look at himself, how he should be as an artist and all that. At any rate, I brought him over. I closed down that label, brought the three of them all together, and the rest passed. And so Barry said, you told Barry, you ain't got to be blame. I'm in blame. Anybody asks you, how come you didn't do this? You can blame it on me. I don't care what you're talking about. You know what I mean? At any rate, I got Marvin to write with me. I said, okay, we'll write songs together. And so I told him after he came with about 3 or 4 days there, he said, well, who are you going to write for? I said, we're going to write for the Contours and so on and so on. Names for them.
Okay.
I was just doing that so we can get together, start creating.
Yes.
But he had good style. So we started creating a couple of things, and I said to him, why don't you sing that song? He said, no, I thought we were doing for so-and-so. I said, yeah, but you sound good singing it yourself. Why don't you sing it? We can find another song for them. like that. He said, well, let me think about it. So that night, we've been working on this for about a week or two. I went on. Remember the tape recorders where you had to slice the tape with a razor blade?
Yes, yes, sir.
Put it. Okay, so I took all my verses out of the new song he and I were writing for another act. I told him, and I
Okay.
closed all of his together.
Mm.
And we go back to the studio. I say, I want you to hear something. Push the button. That song we've been working on. And when he started hearing himself sing consistently in another form,
Ah, okay, okay.
oh man, why'd you do that? I said, I just took my verses out and put yours together straight down the line. I said, now we can work on this tune, but why don't you sing this song? Because ain't nobody gonna sing it better than you.
Okay, okay.
He said, man, but I want to do jazz. And all that. I said, I'll do some jazz with you, but that song right there will be a hit on you. We got to find somebody to sing it. He said, and you gonna do some jazz with me? I said, yeah. He said, okay, so let's finish this up. So we finished it up, got in the studio. I said, now, anytime it don't sound right, I'm going to sing it in your ear because he got the thing on.
Okay.
And then you can run back and do it your way because you'll hear where I'm coming from.
Okay.
So we did that. When he finished the song, I said, what do you think? He said, yeah, that's different. That's different. I said, different. I said, hit. I said, I'll be right back. I went over to the sales department. I said, I got you the new artist, fellas. They said, okay, William, what is this? Who you got this time? I said, hey, hold it. Push the button.
Hit play.
Oh, that's great. That's great, man. Who is this? This the new artist we signed up? I said, yes. He's going to have an easy time with him. I said, plus the guy can write and he's handsome. Oh, man, they was excited.
Right,
so,
right.
So when I went back to him, they put the record out on him. Marvin's upset because I promised I would do some jazz with him.
Okay.
So he had to do a follow-up. Then he had to finish the album. By the time he into about 8 pop songs that he was writing, I said, when you want to do your jazz album? He said, Mickey Stevenson, get out of my face.
At that point, at that point, he had much success at that point. So when you first heard Marvin, you knew he's got that it factor. He's
Oh,
got
yeah,
that
man.
thing.
Oh, yeah.
That was your first impression.
Yeah, he was a combination of a Sam Cooke and another guy we had singing in those days. They had a great voice. He had that all tied in one.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
What was your first impression of Michael Jackson
Phenomenal.
when you seen him as was he 10 years old, 9?
Yeah.
You stood there, you watched him, and you thought what to
He had the
yourself?
gift. He had the gift. You can't anybody that deny that. Well, let me put it to you this way.
Okay.
We all got gifts.
Yes, sir.
God gives us gifts. No question about it.
Yes.
Either we work with it and develop it, or we just deal with it and move on to something else.
Mhm.
Like you got gifts, so you wouldn't be sitting there talking with me. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So what was the question?
When you first saw Michael, that first.
Oh yeah, the gift was obvious. That's my
Yes.
point.
Okay.
And not only was it in his singing, in his motion, it was
Mhm.
all into the gift, and he was
Okay.
young enough to ignore anything that would interfere with that.
Ah, that's key.
Yeah.
That's very key right there. He embodied what he was singing, so it came across very believable. It was all believable, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And until he started getting other information in his head through
Okay.
outside people, he
Mhm.
was on his way to being what he was going to be, but nothing could stop that.
Yeah.
And the only thing that gave him problems was accepting things from sources in the
Okay.
gift.
Oh,
And I
okay.
don't want to get into that, but you understand what I'm saying.
I do. I understand exactly what you're saying. So you're saying if a person, an individual, just stays true to the lane they're in, if they just and become that,
You can only get
then
bigger and greater.
yes.
And while getting bigger and greater, the negative forces got to find ways of cutting you down.
Okay.
There
There
is
we
a
go.
God
Son.
and there is a devil. Don't get it
Talk about
twisted.
that. Talk about that.
You understand what I'm saying?
We all go through that. Talk about
I
that.
mean, if you ignore that, you're kidding yourself. You understand me? You can wake
Yes.
up singing a song that you heard in church. You can walk out that door 10 minutes later, you singing something else and mad at something that happened that shouldn't even be in the picture. That was to pull you out of that gift.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
I don't take this no further, but the bottom line is if the devil can get to Jesus, on the mountain and tell him what all he gonna do,
Yes, sir.
and never left him alone.
Come
Who do you
on.
think you are?
Well, we got to put it. We got to throw preacher in there along with A&R and producer and songwriter. I didn't know you was a preacher too, man.
Oh boy! And I found out what it was all about. And people, I
Yes,
say,
sir.
"Hold it. Why don't you take that conversation someplace else? I'm doing
Right.
some work for the man upstairs right now. And
There we
get
go.
with me when I finish this."
Yes,
And they
sir.
said, "Man, upstairs, what you talking about?" I said, "See, right there, we're on the wrong two different
Yes,
pages.
sir.
I'll talk to you later." You know what I mean?
Wow. I,
That's to
I,
pull
uh,
me off of my job. You got it?
yes, sir. I read somewhere you were responsible for Stevie Wonder coming in. When you saw Stevie, same around the same age as Mike, years prior, that you had that same thing about Stevie
How
Wonder.
can I miss that, man? That's a gift. That was a gift from heaven.
Mm,
I mean, here's a kid that not only can he play, he can sing, and can't see none of the piano keys at all. Now
amazing,
that's deep.
amazing,
That's good. Let's start with that one.
amazing.
And here's a guy with the college and all that, got all those lessons and all that stuff, and he can play. Here's a kid come by there. Let me hear it. Okay, I got it. Now wait a minute.
Undeniable, undeniable.
Now, anybody ignore that is stupid, from my point of view.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
gift was a gift from God. Like you got yours, I got mine,
Yes,
and
sir.
we all got gifts. Some of us got 2 and 3 gifts.
Hmm.
Things around us and people around us take us out of that space that was given to us at the wrong time too. You should recognize that you're being duped because you could be doing something wonderful and the phone rang. Here comes some stuff you don't want to hear. All of a sudden you're talking to stuff. You put that down and now you can't got to get back to what you were working with. That was on
Yes.
purpose. The
Okay.
negative forces wanted to pull you out of this thing because you get to moving on up. You know, he's losing. That ain't the way it works. You got
Mm,
gifts for a reason. That's why
mm.
I'm sitting here talking with you. You got what I'm
Yes, sir.
saying?
Yes, sir.
Nobody
I,
can do
I'm
what you do.
I'm picking up what you're putting down. Yes, sir. You're very adamant, and I want to stay right here for a second. You're very adamant about an individual identifying their gift early on and staying in that flow. What would you say to someone listening who has identified that gift? They stayed with it. They do have it, but maybe it hasn't panned out the way they thought. Is it a timing issue, or is it
Yes,
that's as
yes, it's
far as
a
they've
timing.
gone? Which one?
It's a timing issue,
Okay.
and you make the timing come longer, elongated. I guess was a better word. It could come sooner, but you're still listening to the negative forces, which is
Hmm.
pulling you. Every time you decide you want to do more with the gift, a negative force will come and take you to the party or get
Wow.
into something else. What about your boyfriend or what about your girlfriend? You know, take the whole subject out of the gift and take you in another direction.
Wow.
Now they don't really
Wow.
mean no harm. They're being used to take away your gift. You
Mhm.
got it. Now, if you feel some of that, and you will feel some of that, you want to say, "Yeah, I was doing this, and I got in a conversation with so and so, and lost my thought." Well, now you better think about that's going to happen more often.
Yes.
You better think about you got to tell Mary, George, or Harry, "Can I get back with you?" Find
Okay.
a way to do that while you complete this gift part that comes. They don't stay all day. It comes in there and you into something. All of a sudden
Mhm.
the phone rang. Here's some conversation. Ain't got nothing to do with what you're doing. So they say,
Ah,
"Can I call you back?" No, they're gonna draw you this way. When you hang up, you forgot half of what you was creating or whatever. And now it's on. The battle is on. But it's
okay.
your fault. You got what I'm saying?
I get you. I
You got to
get you.
cut it off. I say
I
that to my
understand.
sons, daughters, anybody. You got to cut it off. You got to
Hmm.
stop. You can do it nicely. And here's the point that'll give you an idea that it's
Yes, sir.
something, their jealousy or whatever it is to pull you out of where you're about, is they stay with pulling you about no matter how you keep saying, "Let me get back with you." Well, I got to, and they still find words to make you hang and listen and go
Mm,
their way. And that's dangerous.
yes, it
That's
is.
dangerous because they're right in the middle of a great moment for you, and you end up not dealing with that and dealing with the other source. Two
Gotcha.
sources: good, bad, up, down, right, wrong. You can't change that. God, devil. You can't change that.
No.
You got to make a choice.
Powerful.
God didn't make us robots, so He may give you the gift to decide which way you want to go. And you're looking at it right in your face. You got it?
Yes, sir. I got it. Loud and clear. You you started a record label for a moment. Is that right?
Yeah.
You got into that and you did that. Um, why did you leave that part? Or
Well, I got with Clarence Avon. On
okay,
the Clarence Avon was a the kind of person that the music division, mainly all the pop record companies and that sort of thing, they
okay,
looked at him as a godfather to black entertainment.
yeah, the
So,
Black Godfather.
so they used that force with him, and
Okay.
he and I set up a label called MGM Records because I left Motown, which is a whole nother story.
Uh,
But and because I thought it was time to go.
okay.
Uh, uh, Barry was in a problem, not a problem, but a situation. Uh, he had Holland Doja Holland,
Hmm.
which I put together with Brian from another label, brought him over there with the two brothers. They wrote some of the greatest songs in the world.
Absolutely.
Uh, the contract time was up for both of us to re-sign.
Okay.
Uh, and the bottom line is uh, Eddie Holland wanted my job as A&R man, and
Mm,
I can understand that.
sure.
And Barry had a problem because they were number one writers, and I'm the A&R, and so now you got a problem. Our contracts are up to re-sign or whatever, and he wanted to make a proposition with me. Barry did
Uh-huh.
because I knew my stuff. You know what I mean?
Right on.
And if he took Eddie on, when I worked with him, and he tried to work it out the best way he could, I said, save all that. Uh, I'm gonna go with you till I find a place I want to be. In the meantime,
Yes.
if I were you, I'm telling Barry this. If I were you, I would not leave two or three of the greatest writers in the country to
Mm.
keep me. So if it was my company, I would have to say goodbye, Mickey. I'm okay, you know what I'm saying? So to save you from finding words to say all that, let me say them for you like that.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
He say, "Well, what do you want to do?" I say, "Well, I don't know. We can do something else. I ain't leaving the company. I won't be the A&R man no more." Blah, blah, blah.
Hmm.
He say, "Well, why don't you go to New York and let's do some Broadway stuff. Find some
Mm.
we can get into up there. You got that whole thing about you." So I said, "Okay, that's a good idea." I said, "So you
Okay.
going for the office of the president? You're no longer the A&R man." You know what I mean? And, and he asked me, he said, "Well, why'd you give it up like that?" I said, "Well, you got the hottest young black writers in the world right there.
Mm.
And you got me. And if you don't help him get that job, you're gonna lose them. They're gonna go to another company." And I said, that don't make sense. So if I were you, I wouldn't even have had too many conversations with Mickey. I said, here's what we're gonna do. So you
Right
handle it
on.
very nice, and I appreciate that.
Right on. That's right. That's right.
So that's what happened. That's why I
Okay.
left.
In 2013, the Funk Brothers received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, and you were there, present, and we know their music because we've heard it, but you were there in the in the laboratory with them. Just how great were the Funk Brothers? I mean, I know they
Very,
were great,
very,
but how great in your
very,
opinion?
very gifted, man. They were
Yeah.
God. I tell everybody, from my point of view, Motown was put together like that for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Times that we were living in, that was needed. Period. Anybody don't want to accept that, that's your problem. But
Mm.
the bottom line is, Motown came from zero to the top of the ladder
Yes.
with its own face of artists, concepts, songs, inspiration, all that was all built in one setup,
Mm-hmm.
and that was it. So anything else was secondary. So me working with the bands and stuff like that was part of my gift to pick out the ones that could really deliver,
Mm.
not just gift, but wanted the energy and the heart to make this great.
Yes, yes. And they were official. They were outstanding. They were amazing. I mean, we've 55 minutes into this interview, and I've got to let you go. I don't want to let you go. It seems like we just
Well,
started
hopefully you
talking.
taking away none of the money because I get the whole payroll. No, just kidding.
I love you. I love you. I love your personality, man. Your enthusiasm is contagious. But I want to ask you about a song that you do not like. You don't want to hear about it, but I gotta ask you:
Oh, what's that?
how did Mickey's
Mickey's
Monkey
Monkey.
come in?
What do you
How
mean?
did it come about? Give us the story in your closing remarks.
Smokey Robinson wrote that song,
Okay.
and he wrote it because when I'm in the studio producing, I would be going like, okay, you got the bass player, doom, 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 and I go here, doom, doom, doom. I go by here, doom, 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 doom. I go like, so they go doom,
Uh-huh.
doom, like, and then I go to the guitar player, jing, jing, jing. Can I get a jing, ding, jing, 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 ding, jing, jing, jing? Can you give me one of them kind of thing? Yeah, like a
Yeah.
doom, 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 jing, ding, jing, jing. Okay, now I'm dancing with both sides. Now I'm on my drummer to double up.
Wow. Wow.
So now Smokey out there laughing because I'm in all these grooves, but I'm trying to get him to stay where I'm coming from. You got what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So that's where he come up with the Mickey Monkey idea. I hated him for that. Now I was there creating. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. I understand.
I'm dancing across the club, coming over to the guitar. Coming over to, you know what I mean? Because now I'm stay in this pocket. I don't change this pocket. That's what I'm doing.
But the song worked. It worked, and
Oh yeah.
it
Every time
worked.
I heard
It worked very well. Yes, sir. Amazing time. Amazing time. It seemed like the time has just gone so fast. In our final remarks, our final time together, what do you what do you consider a win-win? What do you consider? I ask everyone this who comes on winning with the Whitson. What is your win-win in life? Where did you win and where did you win again in life?
well, for me, it's not over.
Okay.
The win for me, and now now I've acquired the ability and the friends, you know, and the gift that God gave me in creating.
Yes.
I'm doing a Azusa revival where the Holy Spirit came down,
Yes.
1906, which is the beginning of the Pentecostal religious program,
Absolutely.
from zero to 650 million Pentecostals,
Yes.
all done by William Seymour, black minister.
That's right.
And I'm here to tell that story.
Okay. Okay.
So the Japanese that brought me in for a meeting uh, called me in to present it to me because I had no idea. I had no idea it even existed.
Okay.
And they said to me, "We would like for you to bring this moment back." And I'm saying, "Oh, the moment of what? What?" And they gave me all the information. I was in shock.
Mm.
And I said, "Why did you guys pick me to do this? We're in California. You got the greatest writers and producers in the world up there." They said, "Everything you did with Motown and everything you did when you left Motown was for this reason." I mean, I've been in another state. Now I'm doing a lot of other stuff that's happening, but that's one of my main projects to finish. Now, all the artists that I know, the writers and producers that I
Mm.
know just how to go get the people that they recognize the gift to make this one of the greatest plays and movies ever. Remember, I said
Wow.
that on your station.
I do. I remember it. Y'all heard it first right here on Winning with the Whitson. Thank you, Mr. Stevenson. Thank you. It's been an honor, an esteemed privilege to sit and talk with you for these few moments. Again, thank you for coming on to our podcast today. Those of you out there, please connect with Mr. Stevenson. He's got some great things coming up in the future. You will not be disappointed. He is responsible for some of the greatest music that has become the soundtrack to our lives. And so I want you to stay connected with Mr. Stevenson. Until next time, I'm Kevin. And this is Winning with Whitson.